Yo, what's happening?
Hey.
Hey, hey, appreciate your time. What's up? What's your question?
So one, thank you so much for your wisdom. It
Hey, thank
helped
you.
me so much.
Awesome.
I actually just got done doing a few like sales calls, and I got like a lot of no's. And my question was, how do you like not feel embarrassed when you get rejected in that way?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so shout out to you for being in sales. That's actually something I've had to grow in over the last couple years myself, and so I appreciate you sharing that. The big thing with embarrassment, I think the first thing we have to ask is what exactly and specifically are we embarrassed about? Because there's typically a story connected to there. Anytime that we feel some level of embarrassment, maybe what attaches to that is some form of shame, some form of guilt, maybe some hollowness in it, in any kind of direction. And I think if we were living in a world that had less recording devices, social media, if we lived in a world where it was very excluded and the things that happened to you, you were the only one aware of, we might actually deal with embarrassment a lot less. But it's not necessarily because we need to remove all those things. It's because of what those things represent, a form of perception, a form of, I don't want to be viewed as this person that is just failing all the time, right? And all the stories that we cultivate. And so to stop feeling embarrassed, I think we just have to be able to question the story that we're attaching to it. So if you were able to identify exactly what you feel embarrassed about, what would you say?
I think I felt embarrassed because I felt like I wasn't charismatic enough or my social skills weren't good enough that I got that person to even, have a conversation with me.
Yeah. And when you say you got no's, was this just from email basis? Was this you got a call with them and they said no? What was it?
No, so I hopped on the call and um this one was actually a guy and like he just kind of like I started talking and then he like hung up.
Okay.
And then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. So this is one of the biggest things to remember in the form of rejection that I think is so important, especially as you're moving in sales. There's a lot of things. But let me say these two big points here. So I want you to remember this. Rejection is either about preference or preparation.
Okay.
Okay. Regardless of where it is, if it's sales or if it's people, if it's relationships, if it's dating, whatever it is. Oftentimes it's about preference or preparation. They either prefer something different,
Okay.
okay, or they're not prepared.
Who's not prepared? Me or the
The other person.
Okay. What do you mean
Okay.
by that? Like
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So because oftentimes we can't take rejection so personally because oftentimes it's not really about us, especially when we know we're qualified for what we're doing.
okay.
Okay. And so it's kind of like if you go on American Idol, if you're qualified and everybody else around you has told you that you can sing and you qualified for American Idol, you're in good hands. And even if the judges later on said no, that doesn't mean you weren't supposed to be there, right? There were some experiences that you got from that that allowed you to level up. But then there's people that can't sing and everybody on the block and neighborhood know they can't sing, but they talking about going to American Idol and they don't got friends that's got a good enough sense to tell them, no, you need to sit this one out. So they went anyway and still got told no. And now they're like, oh, they just weren't. No, no, no. You never had it in the first place. Right. The difference here with what you're describing is that one, I want you to look at the wins leading up to that. One, you got their attention enough to get on the call. That's a win, especially when we're growing in sales. Sometimes one of our big, again, it's either working on us or working in us. Okay. So it doesn't mean that it was a complete waste because we didn't close the deal. We didn't close the client. This was an investment and an opportunity for us to, one, continue working on people telling us no, because sometimes they aren't ready for exactly what we have to offer. And proof of it is because they didn't even allow you to get settled in. So is that more about you or more about them?
Probably about them.
Absolutely. Right. And so we want to be able to challenge those stories and just be reminded of one, the work and effort that we're doing to get to those particular spaces. And two, realizing that as part that's rejection is also a part of the game in sales. And it's something that actually is building us up for the bigger sales that we're after, the bigger clients we're going to land, the bigger finances we're going to be able to gain, the more people we're going to be able to influence and help, all because of these kinds of no's. So when I say preference or preparation, there oftentimes it's a reflection of a lack of capacity this person has for what's in front of them. And we typically know that because of how they are responding to what it is that we are doing, especially from a full place. If I get on a call and as soon as it's picked up and you start introducing yourself, I hung up and I don't call back, I don't come back into the space, you just missed out on an opportunity. I mean, there's nothing else to it. It doesn't have to mean that now, dang, you know, what could I have done more? Because in that moment, there's not much we could have done more.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
positive.
positive.
Especially if
Especially
it
if it
was
was
just in
just in
those
those
moments
moments
of
of
the
the
moment of
moment
the
of the
call
call
happening and
happening and
starting.
starting.
What was
What
it?
was
Yeah.
it?
How
How
long
long
did it
did it
last? Two
last? Two
minutes?
minutes?
Not even.
Not even, right?
Not even. No.
Yeah. Like we don't have enough information to even say what we could have done better.
I guess like sometimes I hear a lot of experienced salespeople say that they can convince anybody. And it's like, I feel like I need to be their preference, you know? So if they hang up, it's like, okay, obviously now I'm going to rewrite, like, I'm not going to feed into that story, but it feels like, okay, I'm not their preference. I need to change so that they can do that. But I don't know if that's realistic.
It's not. It's not. And let me tell you why, because the more that we continue to change ourselves based on everybody's no, we're feeding a market that isn't even looking for what we have to provide.
Mm,
And then we're constantly moving in chameleon like styles to continue people pleasing.
that is true. It is.
Right. Yeah. There is a gift in you, and there is something that you're able to give to others that is more valuable than what people are saying, than the people that are saying no maybe really have to offer you in the first place.
Can you break
These,
that down?
yeah. So, yeah. So, um, have you ever, I'll put it into an analogy. Have you ever found something laying around in maybe the home you live in now, or maybe what you once lived in with parents and others before you? And maybe there was some type of antique that you really didn't know what it was, but it had maybe immense value that you learned of later on.
Um, no.
Okay. I want to break this down because this will make sense. There's I've heard a lot of stories of different people, but actually, even being around older grandparents and things like that, you would not really think that there was a whole lot of value in their home because it was just stuff that maybe when I was younger, older people cared about. I'm like, it is what it is. But you take this antique that you find, and it's kind of just laying around. It's got some dust on it, so maybe a little rusted up. And in my hands, because I don't know what I'm looking at, I could easily throw it away. It's like this really doesn't mean anything, and I'm not going to carry it to the next place I go. But then if I take it to a pawn shop and I put it in the hands of the clerk, and it's like, hey man, listen, I honestly don't know what this is. I was hoping maybe you could tell me the value of it. And it's good because not only do they hold it in their hand and they start looking at it, but then they start asking questions. How long have you had this? Shoot, I don't know, man. I just found it. And then they're looking at it, they bringing out their magnifier glasses, and then they start looking back and they're calling people from the back, like, hey, yo, come here, come here, come here. And they start looking at it. Do you see this? Yeah, bro, this is crazy. How long you had this again? Bro, shoot, I don't know. I just found it. And now all of a sudden, the very thing that was in my hands that felt very low value, little to no value, in the right hands had all the value in the world and made all the sense to do whatever it took to move heaven and earth to have in their possession. I'm telling you this because in the right hands of the right people who you are looking to reach in your business, in your work, they're going to find value in it and they're going to capitalize on what you have to offer. That doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be lackadaisical in our approach. Yes, as creatives and all those things, we're finding unique ways to rework, restructure. That's all a part of the business. That doesn't mean we're failing either. That just means we're continuously reframing the business to continuously reach people that we know this, this work, this lane needs to reach. So that way they can get what they're after. And consequently, because we're helping them, they're helping us. We're getting what we need. Right. But it's all about how we frame it and how we work it and seeing all of that as a lesson and opportunity. In the right hands, it's valuable. In the wrong hands, it's not seen as valuable, but that's not because it isn't. If I took these keys, got a little niece that be running around this crib oftentimes. I got analogies for days. This is the last one. All right. If I took these keys and I put them in the hands of my little niece, what do you think she's going to do with it? She's about a year old.
Probably eat it.
She'll eat it. She'll slobber on it. She'll do all those things. And then she'll toss it to the side. Go find her next toy, whatever. Do I get the privilege of looking at these keys and be like, wow, it's a waste?
No.
Why not?
Because you know the value of the keys and they're valuable to you.
Do you get where I'm going? Value is not determined by who receives it. Value is often determined by the one who designed that which is created for an intended purpose to reach specific people and specific places. Because my toddler doesn't have, or my niece rather, doesn't have the bandwidth to understand what's in her hands, I can't look at what she's throwing away and be like, well, dang, I guess I'm terrible. I gotta scrap everything. She doesn't have the capacity to handle that. And I think that is a good way to look at people who may respond very, very hurriedly to the things that we have to offer to them too. And so again, every no is feedback for us to know where we're at. And it's also giving us insight to know how can we respond to this moving forward in a healthier way. Sometimes it's not so much about whether or not our product is bad. Sometimes people just really aren't ready to take that step. Some people just really don't have what it takes to really do what is required to invest into what we have to offer. And not everybody's going to do it. This is the thing I want you to realize too. Not only is rejection preference or preparation, okay, they either prefer something different or they're not prepared. I hope I explained that fairly decent. Okay. There's three things you got to understand as somebody who is helping others. Number one is you can't help everybody.
Okay.
Okay. This is so important. This has freed me from trying to be Superman to everybody around me. I have chosen to remain Clark Kent. Okay. You ain't going to hear me put on no S on my chest no time soon. Okay. You can't help everybody. Not everybody wants your help. Okay. And not everybody is ready for your help. There are going to be plenty of people that you're going to be able to serve through what you're creating. And you're going to come across people in process of reaching those people that are ready for you that you'll learn aren't ready because they don't have maybe the funds. They don't have the time. They don't have whatever is required for them to succeed in what you're creating and giving them. And some people just simply don't want it. You ever I've spent a lot of time trying to help people get things that I can just tell by their mannerisms, their programming, and where they are in life. They don't want it. They would much rather go live a life where they are free from responsibilities, free from all these kind of things that demands more from them. And that's just where they are. I can't save them because I can't do anything with someone who doesn't want the help. Just like no one can help you. No one can make you and force you to receive a gift you don't want. You're quicker to throw that away, leave it to the side. I didn't care for none of that. I can't force anybody to want something and want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And I think those are some freeing principles to consider and just meditate on and realize too that the right people that you are going to be in front of to help and serve as you continue to tweak, grow your space, your sales, all the things. This is just an invitation for us to just go a little deeper with that And realize too that this is also calling out more of that security that's in you, because you wouldn't be feeling this way if you had 3 of the perfect clients you ever wanted that paid the right amount of money that you needed. Everybody else who said no to you, you'd be like, cool, because you already got what you need. And sometimes we're just more zoomed in on the lack than we are the abundance. So let's zoom out a little bit. Was that helpful?
It was extremely helpful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, follow for more, and if you have more questions, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Take it easy. Hey, y'all put a 1 in the chat. Was that helpful? Was that helpful to anybody else listening? I hope it was. We are in such a great position when it comes to addressing and growing in rejection and all the things, to be able to allow those to be feedbacks. Listen, I'm somebody who's been in this space. I've been told no plenty of times, and it's built a muscle to realize that, man, as part of building these things, cultivating these things, not everybody's going to qualify. Not everybody wants it. Not everybody is looking for it. Not everybody's ready for it. But the people that are, they'll invest. They'll invest, and I won't have to force it. I won't have to force it. And that can look like a plethora of different things along the way. All right. For every 10 no's is a yes. There it is. There it is.